I want you to sit with me in stillness. Just for a moment. Take a deep breath in and let it go slowly. Yes, just like that. You see, in that simple breath, there is wisdom. Most people rush through life forgetting to breathe, not just with their lungs, but with their spirit. And this is the beginning of why I must speak to you today. There is a reason you're here. There is a reason these words found you at this exact moment. The world has become louder, hasn't it? Faster, more complicated, more anxious. And yet, your soul still longs for peace. It's that quiet ache you feel before you fall asleep. The whisper that says, there must be more than this. This is that more. I am not here to preach, nor to convert. I am only a mirror, reflecting back to you what you already know. Deep down, you are a chosen one, not chosen to be above anyone, but chosen to wake up while the world sleeps. There is a cost to that kind of awakening. It will require courage. It may distance you from people you love. It may break you down, only to rebuild you, stronger, wiser, and more whole. Let me tell you a story. When I was just 17, I met an elder monk who had lived in silence for over 30 years. I asked him, "Why do you never speak?" He smiled gently and said, "Because words are often used to escape the truth, but silence invites it in." And in that moment, I understood. Wisdom does not shout. It whispers. And those who truly seek it must learn to become still enough to hear it. So, let me ask you now, when was the last time you were truly silent? Not just without speaking, but without reacting, without scrolling, without searching, just being? We live in a time where distraction is the default, but for the chosen ones, for you, there is a call to go deeper, to shed the noise and return to your center. You've likely already felt it. Perhaps you've outgrown conversations that used to excite you. Maybe you feel restless in a room full of people, or you've begun to lose interest in things that once consumed your energy. These are signs. You are being prepared for something higher, and it won't look like what the world promised. Not fame, not wealth, not applause, but peace. The kind of peace that comes not from getting more, but from needing less. You see, the chosen ones often go through seasons of isolation, not because they are being punished, but because they are being purified. You may feel like you're losing everything, but in truth, you are being returned to what can never be taken away. That stillness, that soul, that divine center. This is the first lesson. Let go of what you were never meant to carry. We carry burdens not meant for us, other people's expectations, our own fears disguised as goals, and the weight of pretending to be okay when we are not. Release it. You do not have to keep pretending. You do not have to keep running. You do not have to be who others expect you to be. This life, this sacred life, it is calling you to come home to yourself. There will be voices that say, "But that's selfish." But hear me. Taking care of your soul is the most selfless thing you can do. Because when you are rooted in truth, you uplift everyone you meet. You become a source of calm in chaos, a lighthouse for the lost, a living reminder that there is another way. I once met a woman who lost her entire family in a single tragedy. She lived in grief for years. But one day she walked into our monastery, sat down and whispered, "Teach me how to live again." We did not speak. We simply sat. For days. She told me later. The silence gave me back to myself. Maybe you too have been through your own kind of loss. Maybe not of people, but of yourself, of your joy, your innocence, your dreams. And now you are ready to return. This is your invitation. Let us walk together through this sacred remembrance, one breath at a time, one truth at a time. We are only beginning this journey, but if your heart is beating with something quiet and steady right now, a knowing, a stirring, then you are ready. Close your eyes now and just breathe with me once more. Inhale peace, exhale fear, because in the next part of this message, we will speak of the sacred wounds, the hidden blessings within pain, and why everything you've survived has been preparing you for this moment. Yes, chosen one, there is more. Welcome back. You're still here. That means something. It means, despite the distractions pulling at you, despite the noise of the world, despite the quiet battles within your soul, you chose to stay. That is no small thing. You're showing up for yourself, and that's how real transformation begins. Let us go deeper now. Earlier, I spoke of pain. Let's not avoid it. Let's sit with it, gently, like an old friend who's been misunderstood for too long. You see, most people are taught to escape pain. They're told, smile through it, numb it, replace it with something shinier. Just move on. But the wise do not move on from pain. The wise move through it. Pain is not your enemy. It is your teacher. Let me tell you something I've never shared before. There was a time in my early monkhood when I questioned everything. The silence grew louder than I could bear. I cried some nights, thinking, have I made a mistake? And one elder came to me, placed his hand on my back, and said, you are not being broken. You are being revealed. I've never forgotten those words. You are not being broken. You are being revealed. Your pain? It's peeling away the parts of you that were never truly you. The masks, the ego, the illusions, until what remains is real, sacred, unshakable. Think back. The greatest wisdom you've gained, did it come in comfort? Or did it come in the quiet hours after heartbreak? The mornings after betrayal? The nights you prayed with trembling hands for something, anything to change? Yes. That was life inviting you inward. And now here you are again. Not broken, but called. There's a story we share in the monastery of a potter who creates the most beautiful bowls. But do you know his secret? He throws each bowl to the ground after it's shaped, letting it crack. Only then does he take liquid gold and mend the cracks with care. The result? Each bowl is more beautiful because of its brokenness. The cracks do not ruin it, they define it. That, my friend, is kintsugi, the sacred art of embracing our scars. What if you looked at your own cracks with the same reverence? What if your wounds are not proof of weakness, but maps to your becoming? Breathe with me now. You don't need to fix everything. You only need to stop running from what wants to heal through you. Here's the second great lesson. Stop asking, why did this happen to me? And begin asking, what is this trying to teach me? That shift changes everything. A man once came to me, grieving the loss of his son. He was angry at the world, angry at himself, and, yes, even angry at God. I did not try to explain it away. Instead, I sat with him in the forest for 3 days. We said nothing. On the third day, he whispered, I don't know why this pain came, but I know I must become something because of it. And from that moment, he did. He became a counselor, a comforter, a living bridge for others walking through grief. Pain can become your purpose if you let it. But first, you must allow yourself to feel. Not just the highs, but the lows. Not just joy, but sorrow. because all of it is sacred. All of it is teaching you how to be fully, divinely alive. Do not rush your healing. Do not compare your path. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right where you need to be for the unfolding of your soul. Let me ask you something personal now. What have you been carrying that no longer serves you? A guilt that isn't yours? An old identity that keeps you small? A story someone else wrote for your life? You can put it down now. You are allowed to begin again, right here, right now. Let's breathe together once more. Inhale deeply. Let that breath hold the weight of all your old pain. Now exhale and let it go. Yes, that's it. Feel that? That space you just created, that's where healing begins. In the next part of our conversation, we'll speak of divine timing, the illusion of control, and how trusting the unknown is the path to true freedom. But for now, place your hand on your heart, feel it beating. That rhythm? That is the sound of purpose still alive within you. That is proof you're still being written by something higher. The world will try to distract you, to pull you back into fear, into doubt, into hurry. But you are being called into presence, into power, into peace. So I ask you, will you keep walking with me? There is so much more to share, so much more to remember, so much more to awaken. You're still with me. And that says more than you might know. Because in a world addicted to fast answers and fleeting pleasures, you've chosen the slow, sacred path of becoming. You've chosen to listen to something deeper. Now, let us speak of something we all struggle with, something even monks are not immune to: control. You see, the human mind loves certainty. We make plans, we set goals, we dream in straight lines. But life does not move in straight lines. Life moves in circles, spirals, storms, and stillness. And yet when things don't go as planned, what's the first thing we say? Why is this happening to me? We resist. We grip tighter. We force. But I'll tell you a secret I learned after many years of meditation in the high Himalayan caves, alone with only the wind and my own ego as company. What you cling to out of fear will become your prison. But what you surrender with trust becomes your liberation. Let me ask you a simple question. Can you trust life when it doesn't look like what you expected? Can you surrender? Not because you've given up, but because you've finally understood you were never in control to begin with? That is divine timing. I've seen it in countless lives. A woman whose dream job didn't work out, only to find joy in a path she never even knew existed. A man who lost everything in one season and gained himself in the next. The loss was the turning point. The delay was the protection. The closed door was the redirection. But most people miss the miracle because they're too busy mourning what didn't go their way. Do not miss your miracle. Life is not punishing you. It is positioning you. But to see that, you must let go of how you thought it should be. Here is the third lesson. Surrender is not weakness. It is the highest form of wisdom. When we finally stop trying to control everything, we begin to notice the quiet order behind the chaos, like the river that flows around stones. It does not fight. It finds a way. And still, it reaches the ocean. So will you, if you trust the flow. You may say, but I don't know what to do next. That's okay. Sometimes the next step is not action, but stillness. Not moving faster, but waiting deeper. Do not confuse pause with failure. The seed must sit beneath the soil in darkness before it ever touches light. Your life is no different. There's something growing within you. Not yet seen, but already real. Already sacred. already yours. And as we come closer to the final part of this message, let me tell you something that changed my own journey forever. I once asked my teacher, "When will I finally be enlightened?" He smiled and said, "When you stop asking and start living like you already are." I didn't understand it at the time, but now I do. We spend so much time seeking that we forget to simply be. You are not separate from divine wisdom. You do not have to earn worth. You do not have to be more than you are. You only need to remember who you've always been beneath the noise. You are light. You are soul. You are sacred. And if no one has told you lately, I'm telling you now, you are enough. You are needed. You are chosen, not by the world's standards, but by life itself. And what life chooses, it never abandons. So take one more deep breath. Feel the weight begin to lift. Feel the soft return to peace within your chest. This moment, right here, is holy. Not because of any grand revelation, but because you are finally here for it. Fully present, fully open, fully awake. In the final part of our time together, we will speak of legacy, of how to live a life that echoes beyond your final breath, of how to align your final days with peace rather than regret, and of how to awaken to the sacred purpose that only you can fulfill. Because yes, my dear one, there is a reason you are here, and in our final conversation, you will come to understand it more clearly than ever before. But for now, breathe, smile gently, and whisper to your own heart, I am ready. And so, we arrive at the closing of our time together, but not the end, because the truth is, the soul has no endings, only transitions. You have stayed with me through the storm and the stillness, through stories of pain, purpose, surrender, and trust. You've walked through valleys of memory and mountaintops of revelation. And now, we turn to something that whispers in every heart, legacy. Let me ask you a question you may not hear often. How do you wish to be remembered? Not for titles, not for achievements, but for the way your presence made others feel, for the light you left behind in the lives you touched. This is legacy. And legacy is not built at the end. It is built in the quiet choices of every single day. It is built when you forgive even when it hurts, when you speak truth even when it trembles, when you give without expecting anything in return, when you choose presence over performance and compassion over control. Legacy is not something we leave behind. It is something we live right now, and it doesn't require perfection. It requires sincerity. I remember once meeting a dying elder in a remote village in the mountains. He had no money, no fame, no education. But when I arrived at his home, dozens of people had gathered, crying, laughing, praying. When I asked why so many had come, one woman said, "He never passed anyone without blessing them, even if all he had was a smile." That is power. That is a legacy that echoes through generations. So I ask you, what will your echo be? What seed will you plant that you may never live to see grow? But someone else will sit in the shade of one day? Because that is the essence of a soul chosen by God, to live not just for yourself, but for the awakening of others. Yes, you are chosen, not because you are perfect, not because you are better, but because you are willing. Willing to feel, willing to rise, willing to remember who you truly are. And that's all the divine ever asks. Let me leave you with this final story. There was a young monk who asked his master, "How do I find God?" The master took him to the river and pushed his head beneath the water. Moments passed. The boy struggled. Just before he drowned, the master released him. Gasping, furious, the boy cried, "Why did you do that?" The master said gently, "When You desire God the way you desired your next breath. Then you will find Him. You see, divine wisdom is not far away. It is as close as your breath. As close as this moment. You do not have to climb a mountain or escape to a cave. You do not need to fix every flaw before you are worthy. You simply need to be willing to listen. Right now, in this very breath. You can begin again. Right now, in this very choice. You can return to truth. Right now, in this very silence. You can feel God move within you. So I bless you with courage for the road ahead, with peace that passes all understanding, and with the knowing that even in your darkest hour, you were never truly alone. You were being guided. You were being prepared. You were being refined. Because you are one of God's chosen ones. Carry that knowing gently, not with pride, but with presence, not with noise, but with stillness, not with fear, but with fierce love. And wherever you walk from here, walk as if the ground itself is sacred, because it is. And so are you, until we speak again. May your soul remember what it came here to do, and may you leave behind not just memories, but miracles. This has been my final message, not to end anything, but to awaken everything. Be well, be still, be love. This message was never meant for the many, only for the ready. If you've been feeling lost, overwhelmed, or deeply called to something greater, this is your moment. Let the monk's final message guide you into peace, purpose, and presence. Breathe deeply, reflect, and listen not with your ears, but with your soul. Subscribe for more sacred wisdom and peaceful reflection. Your channel link. Share this message with someone who needs it, someone who may be ready to awaken. Comment below. What part of this message resonated with you most?